You guys thought I was going to be a minute late. Some of you, Woods here, greetings. What's up, Woods? Some of you are like, is Ari going to be late? For those who was not on the live show a few weeks ago, I think now, I talked about my pet peeve. And my pet peeve is when people do not inform me they will be late. I've been late before. And if someone says, Ari, I was mauled by a bear, you're never going to believe it. It's actually a water bear. You've never heard of this, but it's a real thing. And I was mauled by it. And that's the reason I'm late. I'd go, that's totally cool. Life happens. But when people don't inform, oh, here's my projected ETA, that's my pet peeve. Okay. So, guys, that's a me thing. Woods is going, oh, that's not my pet peeve. So, Woods, what's your pet peeve? Guys, thank you for being here. This is fun. Okay. I do these for educational, fun, informational purposes. Today is healthcare. Okay. So, as all of you guys are chiming in, healthcare is the number one reason I see people not retiring early. And I will joke, it's kind of a harsh joke, but I'll say, look, you're cheating yourself. Like, don't not retire early because of healthcare. Yeah, consider it. It needs to be factored in the plan, but it's not the reason to not retire early. What's up, Jeff? You're too kind. But Jeff, you said it just like we scripted before. The man, the myth, the legend. Jeff, you did perfect. I'll send you the Venmo later. Okay, good job. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, I don't send Venmos for this. So thank you for everyone who is joining. The legend Cole is going to be on in just a second, who is the one who makes all the healthcare magic happen. And I trust this guy so much. I had my parents speak to him, and he is truly the greatest. So for those of you who are right now saying, Ari, you used to do the show at 4 o'clock Pacific time. I used to be able to join. Now you want me to not hang out with my family. That's correct. I don't want you to hang with them. No, that's not why I do this. Okay, sometimes we have to move the schedule just a little bit. So for those who are watching this recording later, you get the same exact experience, and we do not put ads on these shows. So it should be super seamless and super easy. Jeff knows the joke. Guys, Bitcoin, that's how you retire. Okay, no, don't do Bitcoin. Okay, so guys, I want to introduce, many of you know Jay already. Jay, we only get you for a limited period of time today, but I don't think everyone knows, Jay, you are the client success manager at Root, who also hosts his own show. So,
yes, sir.
Jay, I'll let you talk about the show for a little bit while I pull this up.
You guys, so yeah, I'm the client success manager here at Root. My role is so fun because I get to meet all the prospective clients that are looking to potentially work with Root, right? So I get to go over what Root does, our process, answer any questions you have, and really get to know you. And we're just trying to figure out, hey, are we a good fit for you? Are you a good fit for us? And then if that's the case, set you up with one of our incredible advisors. So me and Ari were talking a couple months ago, and when we were so excited to start the collective, right? And Ari has this incredible show, and James is going to do his. And me and Ari were talking like, hey, let's do some insider stuff with Root Roundtable, right? So the idea would be Root Roundtable. Let's talk about topics that people are interested in retirement, right? So for instance, next week, I am going to have a world-class travel agent on. Okay. And she's going to come on, and we're going to give pro tips about traveling around the world. We're going to do segments focused on parts of the world, and we're just going to have a good time. And so I encourage you guys to join that show. Drop any comments, shoot me any ideas. I'd like to bring some of you guys on if you're brave enough to get on camera and talk about your experiences in retirement. And yeah, that's what Root Roundtable is about. Now, Ari, if I could segue into pet peeves, okay?
Please,
I'm
please,
gonna tell you a Jay Withee pet peeve, okay? Hey guys, we don't need to have private conversations in public. I'm a hard pass.
Ooh.
So happens a lot in the airport, it happens in planes, it happens in public. People have FaceTime conversations or hit the speakerphone, and I'm just trying to mind my business in line at Starbucks. I don't want to hear about it, bro. It's just too personal in public. Let's just lock it down. Let's lock it down. Let's keep them private. Sound good?
We don't need, before we take off, to hear about what takeout you're going to have when we land.
We just don't. Why? Like, speakerphone's one thing, and then I'll see people doing a literal FaceTime with speaker on in front of like a packed house. It's so uncomfortable to me. I can't do it. We got to lock that down, guys.
They don't even ask me if I want anything. It's just purely selfish.
I've heard the most wild, like, private conversations. I heard someone talk about their cancer diagnosis on FaceTime right next to me on the plane. it was just like, I feel for you, but like, why are we doing this in public? Okay.
That's a good one.
Thank
Guys,
you, sir. I appreciate
guys,
that.
you're being quiet in the chat. Don't sue me if you're driving. Don't chat like crazy. But Jeff, I know you've got a pet peeve. I can feel it. Woods, if you don't want to say, you're allowed to say the pet peeve. Guys, it's an open space here.
Yeah.
Okay? For those of you who are currently going, hey, I haven't seen Jay's new show, I'm going to drop it in the chat right now. So for those of you who are here with us, I'm going to put it in. If you want to check this out, the recording after. So if you're watching this and you go, I'm not live, I missed the show, it is going to be in the description. So Tim here, I've been looking into last minute travel planning, haven't been successful. Any tips? Jay, that seems like a next week topic. Is that safe to say?
Yep. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to have this travel agent on as a reoccurring thing. She's going to, the first session we're going to do, the first episode next week, she's actually going to start with what travel planning is all about, pro tips, just like little things. I'll give you a little secret nugget. For instance, travel insurance. She educated me on this. Greatly changes when you turn 70. So she's like, if you can travel before 70, prices go down just on the fact of travel insurance being so expensive once you turn 70. Blew my mind. Had no idea. Right. So things to consider it when you're traveling.
Dude,
But
that's
more to come on that.
That's hitting me next year. I gotta get on that.
Ari, you are far from that, sir. You are far from that.
Well, Jay, thank you for being here because it's fun for
absolutely.
people just to even get to hear. Oh, so that's who I would talk to if I were to reach out to Root. Yes, Jay is the one that takes the first call when people are reaching out to Root to gauge, is it a good fit? And to be honest, his job really is to go, do I think my advisors are going to like you? Like, do I think that when we speak to you, my advisor would go, wow, I see their name on my calendar. I'm excited for this meeting. This seems like someone I can add value to. And so it's really us going, okay, is it a good fit here? Because we have people reach out who are like, hey, I've got all this money and I just want you to, I want to make sure I'm going to talk to you every single day. Right. And that's how this is going. And
Yep.
it's unrealistic. And then we have other people that go, so like, do we only talk once a year? And Jay's like, no. It's more important to talk to the advisor way more than that, especially up front. And here's why. And so it's really about getting all these things from where are assets held, meaning, hey, assets are at Schwab and here's why,
Yep.
to here's the cadence of which we speak. And then Jay and I are trying to determine, okay, who do we think you'd be a good fit for? So Jay,
Exactly.
I know you have to run, but anything you want to mention before you head out?
No, Ari, I am super excited about today's show, having Cole on here, because two reasons. So that's how I started in the business, was an employee benefits broker. So I started in insurance. So I used to talk about it for a living. I love what Cole and Move Health are doing. I talk about them in my presentations to people, right? That we have a partnership with you guys, that you do incredible work. So everybody stay tuned, because in reality, you guys, I always tell people, one of the biggest reasons people are nervous to retire before 65 is because of the healthcare, right? They're afraid that the cost of healthcare are going to crush them. So that's part of what we do, is run the analysis on that, help guide you through that, and then work with partners like Cole and Move Health to bridge that gap.
100%.
So very excited to have him.
It's going to be awesome. Jay, thanks, man. Always good to have you on here. And Jay's going to be on more consistently. You guys will get to see him. He has his own separate show. Lots of more fun stuff to come. And that's it. See you, Jay.
Okay. I'll fade into the dark. See you guys.
See you guys. So Jay is awesome. If you couldn't tell in 5 seconds, that's the guy who you get to speak to when you reach out to Root. And his job really is to go, okay, is it a good fit? Do we think we'd like working together? Beyond, of course, are we at the minimum, services, process, all those questions. So I want you guys to get to hear from Jay more and more, and he will be helping me on these shows. In addition, what today is all about, for those, tell me in the chat, guys, some of you guys I know, you'll send me emails, hey, I just don't want to chat because currently I'm driving. That's cool. But if you are on here going, hey, I really want to see about healthcare, I want to learn more about, what it is that makes you guys different at Root, we have this free collective. So please, it won't take a long time, guys. Can you just put in the chat Y for yes, that you're in the chat, and N for no, that you're not in the collective. Sorry, not the chat, the collective. The collective is our free community. And the reason that I'm talking about this is what I'm going to be going over today is I have a healthcare expert coming on today, and his name is not SpongeBob. His name is Cole. And Cole is about to join us literally in the next few minutes here. And I wanted to gather from you guys, what are the big questions for the show today? Now, I know a lot of you, 50 of you that are choosing to be here right now. Thank you, because there's a million other things you could do. And healthcare probably wasn't, when you woke up this morning, the first thing you wanted to talk about, except for Scott here and George and Mike and Mountain Man, who's like, I dreamt of this last night. Chuck, Chris. Okay, good to see you guys. Thank you. So you guys can go back to being the silent viewers. I'm okay with that. So the reason I bring this up is this is what a lot of people go, yep, I know I need to look into healthcare, but I don't know where to start. So first thing is, you can go to movehealth.io, and they're the best healthcare partners in the world. So first thing is, if you go, hey, I really don't have a lot of time today, but I know I need to get the healthcare in order, boom, your answer is right there. But I'm going to be going through your questions today with Cole, and a lot of these are awesome questions. We're not going to get to every one, but we're going to do our best to see if we can address some of these questions that are in the community. So thank you guys, seriously, for putting those in. And then not the biggest, but guys, one of the biggest videos we ever put out here, this is with one of Cole's team members, was with Lindia. Over 170,000 of you are like, I've got concerns for healthcare. Yep, what do I do? And so feel free to check that out, as well as a video I did with Cole, which is more, I think, actually applicable to a lot of you, because it's not just what are the healthcare options, but it's, hey, what about Roth conversions and ACA subsidies and all that sexy stuff that you guys love? So certainly we'll bring that in. So Cole, I'm bringing you on. You're now the star of the show. Camera is looking very good. I think you know the question that's coming. Do you have any pet peeves?
Oh man, so somebody was in there and gave a great pet peeve, which was when a driver passes me or pulls out right in front of me, only to either turn quickly, or if you look in your rear view mirror and there's no one behind you, you're like, this all could have been avoided. You didn't have to hit the gas really hard. Like, there's a lot of room behind me. Why did we decide to pull out right now? Right. So that's one, but I'm not like a hothead while driving or anything. I can give you one of my wife's pet peeves.
Yeah,
I'm always tapping something, right? So I've always got a rhythm or a beat happening in my head. I don't know, maybe there's a diagnosis for that, but I'm always tapping. She's like, why are you always tapping? So, that's one of my wife's. That's probably easier for me to name than my own pet peeves.
It reminds me, I don't know if you feel this way, but sometimes you're driving and it's my turn. Okay. I'm going right. And someone won't give me acknowledgement. Like, yeah, go for it. And it's kind of just one of these, like, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I need comfort when I'm driving. I'm not a road rage by any means, but I like a nice, like, I enjoy my day better when I give them yeah, no, you go. Oh, thank you. Oh, you shouldn't have. It hits the soul.
It does. Well, listen, I'm from Indiana. That's where our office is at. That's where we're home based out of. And so, like honking, doing like the little like beep beep when someone's been at a stoplight for far too long is like, that feels edgy for us in the Midwest. And so, like, we're definitely like, you go ahead, you go. So a lot of times at like a four-way stop, we have what I like to reference. I don't know if the phrase has been coined by anyone else, but I like to call it a Midwest nice off, which is when, you're sitting at a four-way stop and there's four people sitting there and nobody has like waved the other person on. Right. And they're all trying to be so kind. Yeah.
Midwest nice off.
A Midwest nice off. The same thing occurs when there's a check at the table, and you've eaten dinner and there's someone fighting over it. You're like, I'm going to take it. And then it ends up with someone actually being angry at the other person because they're trying to be kind to each other.
So funny. I'm going to steal Midwest nice off. So Cole, as always, lovely to have you here. I'm going to tell you a story at the end right before you go, because you're going to laugh at this, but because you know my dad. So guys, Cole is who spoke to my parents, and the level of customer service my parents had regarding a very difficult health situation, which you're like, yes,
unique,
very unique. Guys, this is something that so many of you are like, hey, I don't know what the heck to do. So Cole, before we get into some questions and stuff, can you give everyone, some of you already know, actually, guys, in the chat, tell me how many of you know about Move Health already. It'll help me. But Cole, can you just tell, hey, what is it you do, your firm, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so we noticed a pretty big gap in the healthcare planning space, right? So I call it healthcare planning. That's what we reference it as here at Move Health. And the reason that we call it that is because there's a lot of financial planning that can go alongside buying your health insurance if you're getting it outside of a job, right? So 50% of the United States gets coverage through an employer. But there's a growing population of folks that are saying, hey, I'd love to retire before age 65. And I don't know what to do for health insurance before 65. And even when you think about health insurance as a whole, and even our retirement age. You know, Ari, what's the default retirement age in the United States?
Oh, to be honest, 65 is what I think.
65. And why is it 65?
Medicare?
Because you get Medicare.
Mm.
And so that's the problem that we set out to solve initially, was the early retirement conversation. After that, it was having conversations around transition to Medicare and, hey, my kid's turning 26 and aging off of my parents, off of their parents' plan, or I want to be a small business owner. I want to launch my side hustle into something full time, but I don't know what health insurance looks like for my young family. All of those things. I want to be a consultant and semi-retire. Those are all things that we tackle, and all things that have an impact. When healthcare planning comes into play. And so I can take Tim's question quickly. Tim, we have expanded to all 50 states, right? So previously, it does take a little bit of time to get all of those contracts and things in order. So we're lit up and ready to go in New Jersey, Tim. So happy to help out.
Tim, you're going to love Move Health. Okay, so guys, we're going to go to some of these questions here. How many of you, though, real quick, put it in the chat. How many of you are like, yes, I am concerned about healthcare before I retire? That is a large concern. And be honest, okay? And if you want to say your favorite pet peeve as well, you can do that and we'll address it later. But we're going to go, if that's cool with you, Cole, to
Please.
Make sure everyone, first of all, let's make sure people are aware. We co-wrote an ebook. So for those of you who are unaware, you can check this out. You can see here, Root branded, Move Health right here, navigating health insurance and early retirement. So for those of you who are like, do I watch Severance or The Studio or this ebook? Boom. Okay. This settles that debate real quick. Okay. Yep. Leonel, George, Janelle, Kelly, Carrie, Sloan. Okay. So you're all in the right spot here. So if you want, you can check out the ebook, but I'll sometimes personally be watching YouTube videos because I digest the same content the way you guys do. And sometimes people say, I have an ebook. I'm like, hey, that's great, but I'm just not going to read it. Okay. Just kind of give me the answer. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. So what we're going to do is go through a few things today. The first one that I think is most applicable is really, let me pull up all of your guys' questions here. These are from the community, okay? And Scott here, probably my biggest concern, healthcare. Woods, yes to healthcare. Okay, we'll get to the pet peeves later. But the first thing here that I want to talk about is this ACA subsidy maybe going away. What's the deal there? Mm-hmm. Cole, any insight from you in the industry fully? Of course, not like a magic yes or no, but any insight?
Yeah. So really what we tell clients when we're working with them, and it's okay if somebody wants to put in their biggest pet peeve is health insurance. But all of that to be said, with the enhanced subsidies. And so I'll give some background on this, right? So I think this group maybe knows what advanced premium tax credits or subsidies on the marketplace are. These are federally earmarked dollars that are, built out as a part of the Affordable Care Act from the legislation in 2010 for the marketplace, put into play in 2014, that say, hey, based upon your income, the federal government will subsidize a portion of your health insurance premium if you buy it through the marketplace and you don't have coverage through Medicare, Medicaid, or an employer, right? So those things have to ring true. So those are advanced premium tax credits. So prior to 2021, there was this thing called the subsidy cliff. And basically it said, if you were above 400% of the federal poverty level, you could not participate in these subsidies or these advanced premium tax credits. 2021 came along and they passed a law that was called the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. And I always joke that there was a sticky note on the back of that said, remove that subsidy cliff, right? So the subsidy cliff was that 400% number, and we've removed that now. And so now a good example of this is, we were working with a client today who is in Knoxville, Tennessee. And that client, and it was an early retiree couple, 57 years old and 55 years old. They were making $300,000 a year in modified adjusted gross income, and they were still getting a tax credit on the marketplace, right? It was small. It was small because it works like a sliding spectrum right now. The higher your income goes, the less of those subsidies you receive until it phases out, where the full cost of a plan wouldn't be more than 8.5% of your income. So I'm throwing out a lot of numbers here, but the thing is you need to know is the lower you can drive your income, the higher that subsidy becomes and your health insurance premium becomes more affordable, if you will. The higher that your income goes, the lower that subsidy becomes, the more you pay and participate in the cost of that. So what is set to happen is the American Rescue Plan Act put those into place, the enhanced subsidies, and those are going to go away at the end of 2025 is when those are set to sunset. Now, there is rumor that they may be extended, that they might extend it, indefinitely. Those are rumors, right? What we do know for sure that is written into law is that they will end at the end of 2025. And so what that means is it's exactly how we worked with financial advisors and their clients previously, which was let's manage income a little more closely. How can we stay under 400% of the FPL? Can we do that? If it's possible, let's do it. But like you said, Ari, you famously say, like, sometimes you have to eat a little bit of cauliflower. And sometimes that means paying a higher health insurance premium 1 year in order to optimize for the next couple of years. So a story that I like to tell is my in-laws. They were 59 years old. They said, we're going to retire at 59. We had just given them their first grandkiddo, all these things. My father-in-law, mother-in-law sat down with their advisor and said, okay, we are going to take a large cash withdrawal this year. We're going to pay the tax man. We're going to deal with it. And then for 60 through 65, we're going to budget it out so we can keep our modified adjusted gross income really low. And so my in-laws, for example, this year at 61 years old, spend about $11 a month on their health insurance because they had a large cash reserve, et cetera, et cetera. So there's ways to do that. I am not a financial advisor. That worked in tandem with them, but there are ways to make these subsidies work. But the important thing to know is that those enhanced subsidies above 400% of the FPL. So for an early retiree couple, it's around $90,000 a year in MAGI. Those are set to go away at the end of 2025.
So Cole, I think some people are like, hey, this guy's cool, but I think he meant $1,100 a month. Did you mean 1,100 or did you mean 11?
No, I meant $11 a month. My in-laws have whittled their MAGI down. Now they have cash and they live on more money than this. But according to the federal government, because it's based on your modified adjusted gross income, which can actually be different than your total income for the year, they look like a couple that's 61 years old that lives in Evansville, Indiana, that makes $38,000 a year. Because that's what their MAGI is and what it looks like for 2025. Now, they actually live on more than that, but that's how it looks. So there's ways to manipulate and massage income to make it work for you.
There certainly is. Guys, what is my favorite account? Okay, put it in the chat. I know I already put it up on the screen, so you're all going to get a hint here. Now, my favorite story is someone reached out to Vanguard and said, I want to start a superhero account because I heard this crazy podcaster and he says I should do it. And they said, we don't know what you're talking about. And it's not a real account. It's called a taxable account. It's a brokerage account. It's a joint account. It's an individual account. It's an after-tax account. It's got so many names because how many advisors like to feel smart by throwing out big words, okay? All of them, including myself. That's why I made superhero the word here. So for all of you right now going, wait a second, I could possibly do $11 a month. I think I could do that. I mean, maybe I don't get the cauliflower app, but we all have to pick and choose nowadays. Superhero, of course, superhero. Yes, this is the reason for that. So guys, this is something that real quick, I'll use this phrase head trash, where people go, what do you mean head trash? I'll go, look, this is something, healthcare for you, don't worry about it. And they're like, what do you mean? But like my neighbor's worried. So like, I'm worried that I'm not worrying enough. And I go, look, it doesn't apply to you. Okay. It's going to be $30 a month and you just don't have to worry about it. And they're like, wow, I just didn't even know that was a thing. Other people, I go, nope, it will be 1,000. And they go, really? And I go, yes, we don't have a superhero account. Here's the age. Here's our health. So it's not like this applies blanket to everybody, but it is a real planning point. So for those of you who are on the line going, look, I'm going to retire in a few years. What can I do? There are things you can do to put yourself in a better spot. So it is the reason I say I don't do financial plans. People are like, well, that's a lie because I watch your videos and that's, I guess, all you do. I go, nope, I do planning because if these ACA subsidies go away, guess what? Changes the plan. Maybe we're prioritizing something else. Maybe it actually does get delayed. Maybe not indefinitely, but that's one more year of X, Y, or Z. So for some of you that are in the collective who are saying very specific things such as, hey, right now, I'm just going to give you an example of what we're not going to answer today, okay? Someone said, I'm 62. My husband's about to turn 59. We're both retired. I have 3 more years of ACA. He has 6. I've been trying to keep our taxable income low to get these subsidies, but I'm now ready to start doing Roth conversions for my 401k and then later conversions for my husband's. It sounds like subsidies going down or away. Maybe I need to figure out what type of catastrophic insurance is out there. Maybe I just let my taxable go high enough to do conversions. Does that exist? Is this right? Guys, this is not a black and white thing, okay? So we can get insight, but Cole, go for it.
I'd love to pipe in just on that
Please.
one specifically,
Please.
because I think that there is a preconceived notion, because everybody that's in here is pretty knowledgeable, right?
Yeah.
You're smarter than the average bear when it comes to retirement planning.
Not Woods, but everyone. No, I'm kidding, Woods. Sorry.
But to live in life's comments in the collective there, this is really important, right? To get and understand that the advanced premium tax credits are not going away. The cap on those subsidies is coming back. They're not going away. The advanced premium tax credit and those subsidies have been around since 2014. So they're not going away. Those will still exist if you're under 400% of the FPL or the federal poverty level. So not going away. That's super important to understand. So there are still ways that you can take advantage of those for certain.
Ooh, I'm so glad, and keep interrupting me like that because that is important. So please, seriously.
Yeah.
Nude, even that was a Midwest California nice off, guys, right there. Okay, new to the collective, so hopefully an appropriate question. Look, you just got some insight right there, living life, and I was about to say you weren't going to get that answer. I will say, I just want to touch on this real quick from Adventure Abounds, who says, look, I want to optimize healthcare costs, but it goes far beyond premiums and direct costs of care. Yeah, eat healthy, exercise, avoid alcohol and tobacco, wear seatbelts. Okay, that's obvious stuff. We all know that, yes, but I want to go deeper today. So this is, I think, a common thing that not many people know. I'm taking the best comments that I've received, and some of you are like, you didn't pick my comment. You didn't tell me your pet peeve. Okay, so we get real picky here. So someone said here, how do you determine if you should do silver, gold, platinum? Any thoughts there, Cole?
Yeah, it's a great question and allows me to put on my professor hat. I'm not actually a professor, but we teach people a lot of things, right? So and it also double whammy. It allows me to hit Sylvia's comment in the chat, which is, but tell me about the coverage with $11 a month. So I'm going to answer the, how do you determine gold, silver, platinum, bronze? The way that I like to break it down is bronze, silver, gold. If you're in the Olympics, you're thrilled to get one of the 3 of those, right? Why? Because if you're purchasing health coverage through the Affordable Care Act marketplace, bronze, silver, and gold are all required to cover the same things, right? So as a part of the Affordable Care Act, they wrote in and said, anybody that's participating in the marketplace, your plans must cover the 10 essential health benefits. The 10 EHBs, as we call them here, are things like mental health, prescription drug coverage, things along those lines, ambulance care, emergency rooms, all of those things. They are required to cover those things. And so between bronze, silver, and gold, the only real difference between those are actuarial values and how much you participate in the cost before the insurance plan starts to pick those up. So bronze is going to have your highest out-of-pocket exposure, but it's going to come with the lowest premium. Vice versa, gold, platinum, we started Move Health. I've been in the health insurance space a long time. We started Move Health in 2023. We have never enrolled someone into a platinum plan. And the reason being is for the cost of the plan versus what the out-of-pocket maximum or the full exposure in your worst year looks like. It's very similar to a silver plan, right? So it's important to not just assume that gold or platinum is the best because it's the shiniest metal, literally. It's important to look at what's our total financial exposure. Do we want to be able to contribute to an HSA? All these things that go into making an informed healthcare planning choice. But the bronze, silver, gold, platinum, how do you choose one of those? Well, they're all going to cover the same things. Now, the caveat being to that, if you're thinking about prescription drug coverage, I saw a comment that was in there that said, I learned a hard lesson on prescription drug coverage, right? It was in there at some point. Went ACA this year. There we go. Hard lesson learned on drug coverage. Mike Petrillo, he was in there and said that. those plans between different carriers, they might cover drugs differently, and they might have different drugs in their formulary. An ACA compatible plan has to cover one drug per therapeutic category. I'm going super deep here, so you stop me and pull me out at some point. But one therapeutic category. And so an example of this would be Ozempic or Wegovy, or tirzepatide or Zepbound or what have you. Those are really popular. The GLP-1s are right now. And you're not going to see Ozempic and Wegovy covered on the same plan, typically. Why? Because they're both really expensive name brand drugs, and the insurance carrier wants to negotiate with that drug manufacturer to get the lowest possible cost for that plan. So all of that to be said, drug coverage is something to consider. And it's really, that's when you'd hone in on what specific carrier and what specific plan with that carrier am I going to participate in.
Love it. Okay. 100 of you guys now with us. Thank you. Cause I know on your Wednesday at 3:30 Pacific time, this was your dream to talk about healthcare coverage. But to be honest, it might save you so much money that you go, now I can retire earlier. Now you get more time with family and friends. So the next 10, 15 minutes, I hope gets you way more time for the rest of your life. So with that being said, we're going to be pick and choosing the best comments here, but guys, we see them all. This is one that I liked. So this comes from Ron Mel. And for those who do not know, these comments are from those of you in the community. The community is our free place where you can talk about anything retirement related. So just to show all of you guys, for who are not aware, you can see here, 2,600 plus of you guys are in this community. This is not just Root clients, although many Root clients are in here. This is a wide range of people. So for example, today I can search the top healthcare. What is it we're talking about today? We've got healthcare expert Cole. So that's where I'm getting all of this from. If you want to join this thread, I'm putting it in the chat right now. So this comes from Ron Mel. I'm seriously interested in real options to cover a 5-year gap for myself, along with 2 college students. Are we better off doing ACA family plan, PPO through my LLC, COBRA individual plan, since 2 kids in their 20s in college with low income? So many questions. So I assume it's just black and white, Cole, right?
It is, yeah. And there's no personal bias built into any of those experiences. Doesn't matter where you live. We're going to say the same thing. No, Ron Mel, reach out to us, right? This is not an infomercial for Move Health. I'm here to give value. But the reality of it is that's a pretty unique situation. There are a lot of different things that we would look at. We'd look at and say, like, Ron, what's your income? Right? We're going to say that first. Then we're going to say, where are your kids in school at? Right? You got 2 kids in college. Are they close to home? Are they not? Do they have any earned income? Can we get them to a point where they get a $0 health plan, right? Because they're working a part-time job and making $14,000 a year, and they just barely tip over the bottom threshold for those advanced premium tax credits. What does COBRA cost look like? You got an LLC. Do you want to get a group health plan for 4 people? The answer to that is no. You don't want to do that. That's going to be a lot more expensive than COBRA. Do we need to look at something off marketplace for the kids because they're young and healthy and don't go to the doctor that often, right? There's all kinds of ways that we could look at that, and it's all going to depend on unique inputs from the person. So reach out to us. It's simple. You can book a discovery call on our website. Really, really easy to do. Doesn't cost anything to work with us. And literally, Ari and Root clients and Root advisors, we talk with them every single day. This is all we do, is navigate this stuff. I walk around our office every day, and I hear it's almost like Groundhog Day, because our team is having this like education conversation so often. But it's super important because it's a hard topic to understand.
Okay, guys, let me explain. So we don't get paid more or less whether you use Move Health or anyone. Okay, we just care that you have the right coverage. And that's why Cole is here to discuss this. Now I'm going to give Cole a question that he can think on while I tell you another pet peeve I just thought of. So Cole, why are people so COBRA happy? There's this idea of like, oh, I have COBRA. Is it because it's like, well, I kind of feel like I'm part of my employer still and there's a connection? Is it because I don't want to go to the marketplace because like I don't know what a marketplace is, so it's scary? So think on that while I tell all of you, this is the analogy that I want you to think about, okay? So I told this, I think last week or a few weeks ago. When you go to the doctor and you're like, hey, doc, I'm in pain. Can you help me with my ankle? Or maybe that's only me because I play soccer, but that happened to me. And he said, hey, it really depends. I said, that is great. That doesn't help me. I know that it depends. I now need more than that. So today, a lot of the answers, of course, like with anything, is it depends. It depends on your income. When are you going to retire early? Do you need to do Roth conversions? Do you prioritize subsidy stuff? All of that stuff depends, but we're not just stopping there, which is why we're doing these. So I don't want this to ever feel like by any means we're trying to not answer the question. But at the same time, what we're trying to do is give insight that makes you go, oh, okay, I could see this actually might apply to me. For example, East West is saying, hey, I'm turning 65 next year. What insurance would you recommend for that 1 month? I don't want ACA. Planning to start conversions. Well, we don't know if conversions make sense. We don't know if it makes sense for you to have a different type of coverage. So please, if you're unsure about anything here and you're like, hey, I need a financial advisor, I need tax strategy, I need estate planning. That's what Root does. If you're like, I need healthcare assistance, whether you work with Root or not, you can go to Cole and Move Health. So I think, done a good job of that. But anything you want to add on to that side of things, Cole, before going over the COBRA Happy?
Yeah, and that's, it's a good call out. I don't ever want someone to hear like, well, all they said was it depends, right? But it really is, it's a unique conversation to each individual. It's hard to have rules of thumb because you have to have the full scope. There are some things where it's like, hey, these are cut and dry, right? You need to understand how subsidies work. You need to understand these things. But, the example of Ron Mel, it's like, that's going to be really unique. And what I immediately am thinking of, like, here are the clarifying questions that I need to ask Ron to understand which of these is going to be the better option. What game plan should we move forward with? But so Ari, I'll go to your COBRA question. Then Sylvia had some good questions in the chat as well. But I'll go to your COBRA question first, which is, why are people so COBRA happy? Or when does COBRA make sense, right? So if I can put on my professor hat again for just a moment, it's the COBRA. It's not a snake, right? It's not a dodgeball team from the movie Dodgeball. It's this thing called COBRA. It's an acronym for the Consolidated Omnibus Reconciliation Act. And what this does and what this means, it was started in the 80s. COBRA was, and what it says is you can continue your benefits through your previous employer. Now, what people don't know about COBRA, most often, COBRA, yes, you get to continue your employer plan, but most of the time you are paying the full premium, right? The full boat. So a lot of times when you're working in an employer, they're paying a portion, usually a large portion of your premium for your employer plan. And so important for you to understand that you're going to pay 100% of that premium. And then actually a COBRA administrator tax on a 2% fee. So you pay 102% of the premium that your employer was paying, plus your share that you were paying. So that's what COBRA is. Now, when does COBRA make sense? COBRA makes sense when you are maybe mid-year and you have maxed your deductible, or you've hit your deductible or hit your maximum out of pocket. We'd say, we might not make a change, right? Because you're already, if I can use this phrase, you're already playing with house money, right? You were already at the point where insurance is picking up, all the care for the rest of the year at that point. So we'd say, stay where you're at. We might also say, hey, if you're planning to do Roth conversions and we're mid-year, or even you're planning on having a high income year because you worked, plus you want to do some Roth conversions, let's pile those into that year, pay for your COBRA. And then at the beginning of the year, during the open enrollment period in Q4 of the year, typically, we'll look at what the next year looks like when we can keep our income lower and plan for some of those subsidies. So COBRA is a good option. It's just continuation of your employer plan. So if you've already paid in deductibles, things along those lines, it can make a lot of sense. Outside of that, if you're someone who has really significant healthcare needs and you're seeing a very specific doctor, you need a very specific network, et cetera, we might say stick with COBRA. But it's rare that we're telling people to do that specifically just because of the cost of the plan. So
100%. This idea of, and I like the way Just Bill said it here, people don't like change. You keep your same coverage. It's relatively effortless. That is the same people that I see who go, yeah, I'm going to work till 65 because like that, I just think that's what my neighbors have done. And, I don't love my job, but I'm just going to keep doing that because it's what I've always done. And sometimes all I'm trying to do here is be intentional and say, guys, let's look at it. Maybe COBRA does make sense, but if it doesn't, here's how much you would be paying, which means you can spend another 6 months at home, prioritizing your health and time with your family. So we don't love this stuff because we're just obsessed. It's so that it can serve a greater purpose in your life. So lots of awesome stuff coming through here, Cole. I know we don't get your time forever. So I want to ask you, what are the big things when, for those who don't know, I invited Cole to come on the show last minute, and the legend that he is says, I'll be there. So Cole, what is it that you see so often people go, gosh, I just didn't know that if I would have considered this earlier, I could have been an X spot, some more high level stuff versus some of the more targeted questions coming in.
Yeah. So I think, how about I just go with a couple of preconceived notions that we hear often. So the first one that we hear often actually relates to, I'm trying to find it there. Carrie, the second comment down on COBRA, would it make sense if you have any pre-existing health conditions? If you're going to go the marketplace route, right? So the Affordable Care Act marketplace, it is required to be guaranteed issue. You can get health insurance coverage on the marketplace if you are undergoing current cancer treatment, what have you, right? You can get coverage on the marketplace. COBRA, an employer plan, is required to be Affordable Care Act compliant, which is why it covers your pre-existing condition, right? So you can make a change to, from your employer plan at the point of retirement or transition or whatever to an ACA plan, and your pre-existing condition will be covered, right? The only difference is you make a transition mid-year, you've already paid into your maximum out of pocket, your deductible on your current plan through your employer. That's going to reset if you go to a new plan mid-year. So, and you have to have a special enrollment period, which would be work stoppage or something along those lines. Now, so we hear that one often. My pre-existing condition won't be covered the same. That's not true, right? Your pre-existing condition will be covered. We hear that one often. We hear often as well that, Obamacare or Trump care or Biden care is for low-income people only. That's not true, right? My in-laws are a perfect example of that. They had a very successful, long professional career. They pay $11 a month for their health insurance through Obamacare, Trump care, Biden care, the marketplace, right? So we hear that often. They sometimes think of that. I'm trying to think of some other things. COBRA is the best option, right? That's not always the case either. We kind of talked through that. It's not always the right move. Something else that is important to know: you can't just switch your health insurance whenever at the drop of a hat. You have to have what's called a special enrollment period to get onto the marketplace, right? So that would be a thing like work stoppage or COBRA ending. Voluntarily leaving COBRA mid-year, stop paying your premiums for your COBRA because it gets too expensive, not a special enrollment period, right? So this is important. There's an open enrollment period for health insurance on the marketplace that runs from November 1st through December 15th. That's when you can make a change for whatever reason, willy-nilly. That coverage will start January 1. So if you're planning on reviewing the marketplace or reviewing things, don't elect COBRA right away before you talk to somebody, whether it's us or a local broker or whatever you have. That's important. Don't elect COBRA just because you think it's best, because you can't just get health insurance mid-year and stop paying your COBRA. We're early in the year right now. So if somebody says, hey, I'm going to take COBRA. Okay, that's fine. You're going to pay for it May through the end of December. So that's important.
Guys, super helpful, first of all, Cole, because these are some things that people go, oh, I just need to hear it once and now I'm good. And I just thought for so long this was the way, because guys, this is all we're doing all day, every day. And this is literally all Cole is doing all day, every day. So think about it like this. My job as an advisor is to be a really good quarterback, is to understand, okay, if there's a healthcare question when it comes to Roth conversions, when it comes to tax gain harvesting, when it comes to equity comp, my job is to go, okay, great. How do I connect all of these pieces? And then if I need to bring in a healthcare expert like Cole to find that right policy, my team at Root will work with Cole. So we'll go, hey, Cole, we have a client right now. We're the one doing the analysis on here's exactly how much we want to fill up this current bracket. Would you please go help them find the right policy so that they have the healthcare needs? So that's how it is a team approach here. So once again, lots of great questions coming in, including those from clients. Jeff says, Cole's perfect, explains this topic so I can understand it. Cole,
wow. The only other person that calls me perfect is my mom. So that's amazing. I love
Cole, super valuable information. Guys, thank you so much. All the comments are coming in are great. Cole, I don't want to take too much of your time before Mike's like, I think I've seen this cool guy before. Lots of good info. Super appreciate, as always, you doing this. I told you I was going to tell you something funny, so I want to think back on it. I don't have the video, but I'm going to find it. And I'm going to put it in the collective later for all of you. But there's a video. Do you play pickleball at all?
We've literally got an on-site this week, and we have a pickleball tournament happening tomorrow night. So
okay,
yes.
Well, I didn't know that, but I'll be there. No, so what? Literally, I don't know why I saw this, but it came up on my feed, and it's a couple in California playing against a couple in the Midwest. And the couple in California, the guy is just going on to his wife's side and taking all the shots, not letting her play at all, just like, we got to win. And the Midwest couple is like barely moving, but winning everything. And they're like, you guys are doing such a great job. Oh my God, you guys look like you really work well together. And he's like, honey, get it together. What are you doing? This is our moment. And he's like, you guys, do you want to hang out after? Because this is just fun. Who cares who wins? But they're really crushing. So I feel like Midwest people are secretly just so good at everything, but also they're just not only good, they're like, so the way you had it, Midwest nice off. Okay. For those of you who do not hear this at the beginning of today's show, a Midwest nice off. Cole, can you give another good example of that?
Oh yeah. So we talked about fighting over the bill, right? So when it comes to the table, we talked about being at a 4-way stop and getting, everybody's waving each other on. You end up waiting there for 30 seconds. I'm trying to think of another good example of this. Oh, here we go. When you are walking through a door, right? And somebody opens the door and holds it for you, and they're kind of holding it behind themselves like this, like, come on. And they go, no, I got it. And then you end up with two people holding the door for somebody's family to walk through, and you're like arguing over who holds the door, right? It's a Midwest nice off. You're trying to out nice each other, which is a great problem. But yeah.
It is. Here's a good one from Tim, who now can reach out to work with you because you're in all 50 states. When I'm doing 80 plus in the left lane, potentially a problem there. I've personally never done that, Tim. So neither is Cole. We don't know what you're talking about. And someone ahead moves into my lane at a slower speed, causing me to slow down. If you're not going to match my speed or better, let me pass before you move. Tim, I feel like those are just people who are on their phone. That's my gut. But maybe I'm looking
Tim
at
says,
that.
get on my level. He says, get on my speed level.
Get on my speed level.
Match my speed, but whatever. Match my speed, get on my level. Same thing.
For sure.
Ari, can I take one more healthcare planning question?
Please.
So I saw a couple upvotes for HSA question, right? So Robert Vittori said upvote. There was one in here. How much can I contribute to my HSA in the year if I retire? That my coverage changed in March from 2 people to individual. I took COBRA. My wife just went on to Medicare. I contributed my family rate. So I'm going to answer this, as well as I can. This is also an it depends, right? So a couple things that are really important here. HSAs have this thing called the 12th rule. And the 12th rule means for the amount of months that you are covered by an HSA compatible high deductible health plan, you can contribute that amount or that fraction of the HSA maximum. So just for round numbers, because I don't know who did this. Let's say that they made it not equal or not double. So let's just say it's $10,000 is your maximum, between, say, you're 55 plus, you can make your catch-up contributions. It's $10,000. Let's say you can make 1/12 of that if you were covered for January only by the high deductible health plan. Now, Tim, for example, if you transition to a plan that's HSA eligible on individual coverage, you can put in your individual maximum. Now, your wife, because the HSA is split in 2, you can't make your family maximum because your wife is on Medicare now, right? So you have to think about that as well. And so that's important. The HSA is an awesome account. It's great, triple tax advantaged, all these great things about it. But don't get super hung up on having to put money in there. If you don't let that be a hindrance to you picking a plan. The important thing is getting the coverage right. But the HSA piece is an important one. There's the 1/12 rule. If you didn't get anything out of that except the 1/12 rule, that's what you can contribute.
That's a good one. We call that BB planning, like bang for your buck. It's an awesome account. It is something that you should not overlook. If you're working with a good advisor, it should be certainly discussed and in the plan. And there's a lot of people who don't even understand how you can withdraw from an HSA that's not for health reasons, which I'll go into in a separate video later. But for everyone here, we'll want to certainly answer HSA questions, but sometimes it's hey, is that going to have as much bang for your buck to doing the right conversion or the right marketplace coverage? Some of these things might add way more value. It's not taking away, but naturally in life, you pick and choose. So Cole, thank you so much for being here. Guys, I hope you know enough that he is the expert and his team at Move Health is awesome. So please do they just go to Move Health? Let's just show it real quick. So if they go to movehealth.io, I'm going to put it on the screen here.
Please.
Is it as simple as going to the website, booking a call?
Yeah. Movehealth.io. And then there's a book a discovery call, right? So you click, I'm a client, right? Because you are a client, right? You click that and you click that big button in the top right that says discovery call. And then literally it's going to pull up a calendar and you can see when we are available, right? We're closed on Friday, so you won't see dates for that. But early next week, you can start to book some time with us. And so, we'd love to work with you all. It's once again, no cost to work with us. Ari doesn't get us a kickback if somebody works with us. All of our team members, our W-2 non-commissioned salaried team members. So they're not pushing a product. That's the reason we started Move Health, because we saw a big problem with insurance and how it's been commoditized, right? So we don't want anybody to ever feel like they're being pushed in one direction or another. Our goal is to give good objective feedback. So use us if you'd like. But yeah, honor to be here, Ari, on late notice, but I'm always grateful. It's always a good time.
I appreciate it, Cole. Have a good one, man.
Of course. See ya.
See ya. So guys, I only want the best guests. So guys, will you be reaching out to Move Health? You can tell he's a really cool guy. That's not why you should reach out. You should reach out because it's clear that he is the healthcare expert. And this is my favorite thing about him, and I think a lot of you feel this way. How do I want to explain this? So my parents had a really difficult, I was thinking about, do I go into their health stuff? But probably doesn't it wouldn't help the conversation. So he had, my dad, a very difficult health thing where basically he had coverage through the DGA, which is the Directors Guild, because my parents make movies for a living. And then they got dropped and they had no idea they got dropped. So they're like, we have no healthcare coverage. My dad's on a bunch of different things. And I reached out to Cole and I was like, hey, what do I do? And Cole's like, hey, this is not a simple situation. I go, no, I know. What do I do? His communication, beyond the quality of the advice, my dad is not the easiest to deal with. And I just want to make sure you all, like, I would not recommend someone. I don't do advertisements on the podcast. I don't do advertisements on the YouTube channel. People reach out, hey, you should advertise my mattress. It's look, I don't sleep on it. I'm not advertising it. I don't get paid by Cole. I really appreciate the work that he does. And Scott's going, yep, I will be reaching out. Good. That makes me happy because I know you will get good advice. Carrie here. Carrie just gave $5 to the show. Carrie, I've never had that happen before. So thank you. Actually didn't know that could happen. Hippo character applauds while nodding in approval. This is funny. It's like almost boomer. If you guys know what I mean, it's just saying what the emoji is. But on my platform, I can't see what it is. So the super sticker from Carrie. Carrie, thank you so much. That is so kind. I didn't know you could do that. So Kelly here. I'll need to reach out towards the end of the year. Absolutely. I had someone who reached out who was like, hey, I don't even know when I'm going to need help, but I'm going to need help. So like, I just sleep better knowing that when it's time, I will reach out to you. Is that how a lot of you guys feel as well? That's what I'm thinking here. Because a few of you, Scott, Kelly, yeah, I'll need to reach out. I will be reaching out. Are you guys like, hey, this is super helpful. Like, have more guests on that immediately help me? Because there's people I have in mind that I'm like, they could probably come on and help regarding long-term care guidance. There's certain people that I'll talk to, and this is not me being the guy by any means, who I go, look, I think I probably will know more just because I'm in with clients actually doing some of this work. I'm actually, when I'm prepping for my videos, the amount of research I have to go into so that I can explain it very simply is fun for me. So it's not a burden. I like what I get to do, but I do a lot of research before I'm recording a video so that I make sure that nothing gets overlooked. Mark Higgins here. Okay. I had my first call with Move Health several months ago, was very impressed with the information provided. Awesome. That I'm going to screenshot and I'm going to send that to Cole because Cole is no longer with us. So I'm going to do that. Can you put the address, please? Marcus, are you trying to walk into their office? I have no idea if if that's what you're looking for. I imagine you're looking for their website, movehealth.io. Okay, guys. So I'm going to ask you, 100 plus of you who are choosing to be here this evening. Thank you very much. Kelly, healthcare is a primary concern. Very happy you had Cole on. Thank you, Kelly. That does help. Okay. So next week, I have a guest coming on. I was debating, I was thinking, is this going to be most applicable to all of you? But I think you're going to enjoy hearing from it. So who I'm going to bring on next week is our head of talent acquisition. And I think it's going to be interesting to hear how we run our hiring process here, because it's not like a traditional firm in a cool way. So we spend a lot of time on this. Marcos, you just wanted the website, so I put it up above. Love this, 1 year away, so helpful. Good. Okay. So I'm going to bring on our head of talent acquisition, and he's going to be talking about how we do hiring. And a lot of people who are on right now are actually people who are like, hey, I think I might want to work at Root. I just don't know timing when it makes sense, or I'm at this current firm and it's good, but I don't feel my growth potential is where I want it to be, or something like that. So I want to show you guys something. I don't know how many of you guys are like, this is what I'm dying for, but I just want to do it. But I want to ask you guys, because if not, I'll let us go and have this be done. Robert, I think we got to your question. So if any of you are like, hey, I feel like I just didn't get my question answered, do you hate me? Yeah, that's what it is. No, I don't hate you. Send me an email. Okay, send me an email, Ari at Root Financial. Robert will be reaching out. Good job, Robert. Tim, I just signed up for COBRA, but we'll probably reach out to Cole sooner than later just to be informed prior. Yeah, all good. Education. I talk to a lot of people who I go, you should not work with us. And they're like, what do you mean? Isn't that what you do? I go, yeah, but we can't add enough value. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, you're 52. All your money's in a 401k. You should work with us in 2 years when you're retired, and then we can actually help create income. But in the meantime, get a superhero account going, get it to this level, maybe stop maxing out your 401k because that's already really healthy, drop it down to the match. And that's what I would do. And kind of general advice. It's not specific to their situation. Once again, having a convo. So with that being said, I'm going to ask you guys, do you want to see Root University? This is the training program that James and the team built at Root. It is completely behind the scenes. I've never shown this on any video ever because it's a lot. And I don't want to make you guys, if you guys are like, hey, let me give you the example. Okay. So if you're hearing this going, yes, I want it, put it in the chat. If you don't, say no, have a good one, and all good. If Michelle's like, I'm good. No, this was good. Healthcare, I'm out of here. All good, Michelle. So this was, I don't even know, a year ago. I went to a doctor. I said, Doc, what you just said there, it sounded great. I think you believe it sounded great. Do you believe that? He's like, I mean, that's a weird question to ask me, but I mean, I think it made sense, right? I said, nope. I have no idea what you just said. He's like, okay. I said, now I'm not trying to be difficult here. Okay. I think I'm a pretty nice guy. Then I made a stupid joke and he probably didn't laugh. And then I said, look, I just am not going to take a pill blindly. Okay. I'm going to take it when I'm informed as to why I should take it. Once again, I'm not trying to be difficult. I actually want to be an easy client because I have clients. And when people are not easy, it's not exciting to talk to them. And he said, okay. So I said, try again. He said, okay. So he started explaining to me the lab that the pills are made in that he wants to give me. I said, no. I don't care about the lab. I need to know why I need to take this pill or why I'm not going to take this pill. And once again, I'm not taking it blindly. I'm not trying to be difficult. Just please explain it to me. And then he did. And guess what? He did a great job. And I said, that's what I needed. And I said, ooh, but I have one more thing. He's like, what? And I said, now I want to go into the lab, but not on everything, just a little bit on this piece. And he was like, okay. And because I was transparent asking the questions, I got my answer. I was ready to go to another doctor if I didn't get my answer. And I'm not trying to be difficult. I just want my answer. So the point here, I'm about to show you the lab. Some of you are like, the lab, that's as boring as it could get. I have no interest in that. Okay, then I do not want to put you to sleep, and I don't want you to not like me. So I would ask you to like this, please, so more people can find it, and then have a good night, because I do not want to take more of your time. The whole reason we do planning is so you get more time with family and friends. So really like your live stream, and I want it. And houses you bring on. The guests, I imagine you mean there. Yes, I want it. Okay. Just bookmark the page, Robert. I imagine the healthcare people. Hell yeah, sure. Heck yeah. I probably shouldn't have said the word I said above that. That's okay. We're live. University, sure. Tim, got a little pet peeve here. I'm not a sure guy. Okay. You know, when someone's like, hey, you want to hang out? Sure. Okay, fine. Just tell me if you don't want to hang out. No, I'm just messing around here. Tim, I know you and you've been on the show before, so I know that's not your style. But some people, how was your weekend? It was fine. I don't do fine. I do optimize, and people make fun of me. They're like, we know Ari's weekend wasn't fine. It was optimized, you know? when really I'm doing the same thing you guys are doing. And if you guys are not watching the studio right now on Apple Plus, once again, I get no commission for this. The studio on Apple Plus, guys, I'm a huge fan. So who else feels that way about Shore, or am I alone? Ooh, Tim. Okay, Tim, I'm not going to put it on the screen because I don't want to get in trouble, but I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to show it to you. You guys knew I was going to show it the whole time because I'm too excited. I was going to show it if one of you said yes. Okay, so here we go. First thing is, don't get overwhelmed by this, okay? You don't need to know everything inside here. But this is what it looks like behind the scenes, okay? So if you want to work at Root one day, this is actually good to see. Those that work at Root today have gone through this. So there's something called, before I go to the university, we're working on updating this logo, Root University right here. What you're going to see, let me pull this up. Give me 1 second here. Entertain yourselves, guys, okay? So just talk to each other. No, I'm just kidding. I know you can't do that. The suspense is building. Oh my gosh, Woods. Is anyone else watching the studio, or am I alone? I feel alone right now. Okay. Here we go. So this, when someone first starts working with Root, this is, and I know you clients already know this, but this is the process, okay? So first, we have this kickoff call. So this is identifying purpose. What do you want to spend your retirement doing? And then after that, there's very specific meetings: income, investments, taxes, estate planning. With every single meeting, there's homework. Sometimes the homework's for our client. Sometimes the homework is for ourselves. For example, look at this, guys. Remember who we just had on? Cole with Move Health. Now, boom, more healthcare, portfolio design, tax planning, bunch of stuff, okay? So the reason I'm showing you this, Hoy, you made it. Good to have you, Hoy. Chris, oh my gosh, guys. Did anyone watch the Arsenal game today? Some of you are not soccer fans, football fans, okay? But for those who did, oh my gosh, what a result. I'm an Arsenal fan if you can't tell. Okay, so we're going into Root University here. This is what it looks like. So you can see purpose, income, investments, taxes. This is the thing that most people are reaching out to work with Root on. So go see the Accountant 2 movie from Michelle Green. Okay. Guys, do we take Michelle's recommendation? Do we come back next week and I'll say how Accountant 2 was? Is that in theaters, Michelle? Let me know. Okay. So Root University, this is a tax meeting. Okay. So you can see we have, for example, what is the purpose of this meeting? It builds upon the work that was in the previous discussions. So first we need to understand income, investments, financial goals. Now we can shift towards a tax optimized financial plan. Mike Anson here, Michelle, homework. On that note, I'm out. We call it fun work sometimes, Michelle. It's not really homework. Okay. Mike, I'm an accountant. I don't need to see the movie. Good one, Mike. Okay. This meeting, Roth conversions, tax loss harvesting. So what James is doing here, all of you should know James by now. But what this is, you can see, is this is only internal. I cannot make this public, okay? But it's James explaining, here's how you run a tax planning meeting. Here's the agenda all clients receive ahead of a meeting. For example, we need to review. I can't zoom in more than this, so apologies if you're on your phone. Tax returns, Roth conversions, tax opportunities, key targets, things like that. Then there's a checklist. For example, all of our clients have, okay, Roth conversions, harvesting, charitable giving, IRMA planning, estate, healthcare, real estate, windfall, equity comp, business planning, Social Security, provisional income, withholdings, tax deductions, financial aid, saving strategies, QCDs. These are a checklist, okay? So that's just like, okay, if you need to know more on tax planning, how cool is this, guys? Some of the videos we make are inside of tax planning. So a lot of the advisors that work here, they understand tax planning. But if you're starting at Root and you're assisting with opening an account, they need to know what tax planning looks like. So they need to go through university to understand, hey, here's how capital gains work. Here's the common tax mistakes retirees actually make with real examples. So from there, there's very clear objectives. Before a meeting, we do this. We use these during a meeting: software, sent after a meeting, email summary. Okay, what are certain things to be looking at? Well, first you frame a conversation, then strategy, then you review the return, then you look at that year's projections, then you consider conversion, then you look at the other ways to optimize. So there's a very clear process to ensure a tax return is seen correctly. Then there's follow-up steps. This is once again, I haven't even gotten to anything yet. Then the information is, hey, here's how we frame a conversation regarding tax planning. Here's how last year compares to this year. Here's how we look forward when it comes to tax planning and creating returns. And so you can see for some of you who are going, wow, this is a lot. Yes, this is just one section of the tax strategy. For example, if we're going into tax gain harvesting, who does this apply to? Clients with taxable accounts, not retirement accounts. So let's assume you're like, I've got all my money in a 401k. Okay, great. Then this tax gain harvesting topic just doesn't apply to you. Tax loss harvesting. Okay, here's who it does apply to. Here are the key points. Here's how we actually use this to offset. So this is a learning program and tool that we've developed, and it's on literally, it's constantly in development because things are always changing. But same thing for that first meeting. Here's how we hold the meeting. Why are we even here? You get the point. Okay, so kickoff meeting, income meeting, all of these different processes come with agendas and framing and conversations. And this is what a lot of our work is built on behind the scenes. So some of you are probably like, hey, that was cool. There's a million. I mean, I could spend 12,000 hours on this, but I have to pick and choose. And I want to make sure you guys can go see the new movie, The Accountant, or the Financial Advisor movie that Woods is talking about. Was that cool to see? You guys went pretty dry on me. Maybe you were just so engaged. You're like, oh my gosh, this is better than the studio on Apple Plus. But was that cool to see? Was it too much? Next week, do you guys want to hear from my head of client acquisition? Sorry, not client acquisition, talent acquisition. Head of talent acquisition. Excited to hear next week how we pick the advisors that work here. Is that of any interest? Naturally, we're in the people business. It is the trust business, and that doesn't happen overnight. So I do these live shows to show as authentic as possible. Here's how we think. Here's the partners we bring on. I kind of share everything. Some people think it's too much. That's okay. They're allowed to think that. I want to show everything so people can see very clearly, wow, this is the level of detail. This is how you work, all that good stuff. So would you guys want to hear from our head of talent acquisition? Excited to hear next week. Let me know. Now, Kelly's going, yeah, that would be really cool. Okay, cool. One person. No, I'm just kidding. Brian, cool stuff. Yeah. Not everyone obviously knows what goes on behind the scenes because how could you? And that was more of the lab. So I have certain clients that are like, look, I actually resonate with knowing how much detail you guys are putting in. And I knew you'd do it, but I didn't know the level of detail there. So Chris is going, sure, why not? Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you won't. Sloan, yes. Chris, yes. Awesome. So I now get to send this to my head of acquisition and say, see, people want to see you next week. They can't bail on me now. Not that they were going to, but yes, yes, yes. Guys, that's it for tonight. Hour-long show, hour plus. Cole's awesome. Hopefully you reach out to Move Health if you have questions there. If you guys are not already enrolled, and there's a new feature for those who do not know, if you're already in, not for the software is always getting updated, but in terms of what you can do, this has been a big gift thing that people have been doing recently. So if you're not in the Early Retirement Academy, I think all of you guys are pretty much that are here, but this is where if you want to go in and you want to play around with softwares or healthcare calculators or what you're on track for, Roth conversions or whatever, you can go in here and you can enroll. Now it's a few $100 for a reason. Okay. You don't get one-on-one guidance. I'm not personally talking to you, but those who are in it can talk about whether they think it was valuable or not. And you can see there is now a way to send it as a gift. So there are a lot of people right now, for example, saying, I want to send it to my friend. Now, if you want to send it to like 10 people, some of you, look, I'm going to give you a code. I'm going to give you a bigger discount. I don't have a bunch of codes, but it's not that hard to create one. I should ask my team. So if any of you guys are like, yes, I want to send this academy to 5 of my friends so that they can see they're in a good spot to go retire. So we can go hang out. I had someone do that with like 10 of their friends, and then they didn't have to pay for the vacation. They're like, instead, I did this, and that we traded it. Okay, I'm here to help. So guys, you can always shoot me a note. I monitor my inbox. Yes, I do have a team that helps me, but my team will flag it if they go, this seems like something just Ari should be reading. They of course will read it, so know that they do have access. So don't put any weird spicy details. Not that you would, but that's just important to know. So that is regarding my email. That is my direct email. So you guys can email me anything. Hey, my question didn't get answered. Can you pass this to Move Health? I'll probably say, go call them, but just FYI, or my team will say that. But that's it for today's show, guys. That's all I had for you. Next week, And oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Could you believe this? I almost forgot. Who got my new email on my new show coming out? Okay. Retirement Unfiltered. Guys, who got that email? If you're not on the email list, you can shoot me a note. I'll make sure you're on it. I think most of you guys are. If you've ever downloaded or you're in the academy, you're automatically on it. But here's the premise of the new show and why I'm really excited. So right now I can bring on an expert like Cole, talk about healthcare. Right now I can go live right now, and it feels like I'm talking into the ether, but I know all of you guys are here. Doug, you don't have to apologize that you missed it. You can go back to the beginning and watch it all over again. You can watch it 100 times if you want to. This is very exciting stuff. Healthcare, Doug. Okay. So this new show, Retirement Unfiltered, the premise is that one of you, if you're not already aware, I put it in the community. You guys aren't chatting with me, so I don't know if you're still with me here, but I'm going to assume so. So I put this in the collective, okay? You can fill this out. We've had over 50 people who want to be on the show now. This is a new show. You can apply to be a guest. You can use this link right here. So I'm going to send this in the community, in this chat right here. So if you want, you guys can apply to be on this show. See you, Lionel. Thank you for coming. See you next time. Appreciate you being here. Okay. Dennis, 4 months to the wedding. Yep. Sloan. Yep. Got that yesterday. Okay. So the idea here is I'm not going to be looking at your financial analysis. I'm not looking at your right capital. Okay. But you're going to come on for 1 to 2 minutes and you're just going to be sharing your situation, income, assets, job, monthly spend, retirement time frame, 5 important things. So you're going to come on and say, I make $200,000 a year. I'm a big baller. I live in Minnesota and I currently have about 1.2 million saved. And right now I'd love to spend $8,000 a month when I retire in 3 years. And then myself and my advisor, I'm going to pick a different advisor each week. We're going to ask you questions and you're allowed to say, hey, the real reason I'm on the show is, can I retire? Like literally, could I do it right now? Or am I missing something? Is there a gap that you think? So then we're going to be asking questions. What's your healthcare coverage today? Oh, I'm going to use COBRA. Okay. Hey, we're going to be asking questions, long-term care, estate planning, legacy goals. So it's almost like a radio show, but the idea why I want to do this is a few reasons is I do a case study with you guys and I go deep into the analysis, but that's only letting me do like one big case study. So what I want to do now is say, guys, I could have 4 people on in an hour and do 10, 15 minutes. And I hope it's way more entertaining. I know how awesome it is to hear me talk, but eventually you get sick of me. Okay. So if I have my advisor, you get to see them work in real time. I think it'll be really cool to say, wow, that's how your advisors actually work with people. So someone will come on, they'll share their situation. We'll ask questions. I think the first show will probably be in like 2 weeks. It'll be on Fridays. These will be Friday shows. As of now, Friday at 2:00 Pacific time, but subject to change. And we're going to give them financial insight right on the line. Hopefully you can learn from these situations in an engaging way. If you guys have other ideas for, hey, here's, I think, an idea for your content to take it up a notch, or here's something like, I'm a very open guy. I'm not married to any idea. Whatever's the best idea, we put them all on the table and we pick that. As of now, I think this new unfiltered show, the fact that it's live and you can see my advisor's work and get insight from me, I get to help way more of you. So if I do this for a year, everyone who submitted, hey, I want to be on the show, will be on the show by the end of the year. So I want to help way more people. The only thing is today, we are requiring that you're willing to come on camera. Now you can use a fake name. You can say, I'm John, but if you come on and like the face is blurred, there's not as much of a personal connection. And we want people to know, hey, there's a real person. So you're coming on the show, you're sharing your situation. We might eventually go, hey, we'll blur out a face or we'll change the audio, but we don't have that level of, we first want to make sure there's something you resonate with. And then Scott, oh my gosh, Scott, thank you. I almost got fired, guys. Okay, Scott, don't forget to plug James' show. Oh my God, I could be fired if I forget. Scott, thank you so much. It was on my reminder list. So tomorrow, James Cole, the legend, the one who makes Root actually work. The amount of work this guy does would blow your mind. He is going to be live on the Root Financial channel. So right now we host a show called Root Talks. So it's me and James talking about how do you get past the fear of retiring? What does fun mean? For example, when markets are going down with our clients right now, we're actually going, hey, we're going to reach out to you and talk more frequently. And here's why. And thinking about being proactive, how we actually do it. If you want to get the details, that's this show right here. But if you click live here, you're going to see tomorrow live with James, best travel stories with a special guest. So someone's already waiting. That'll be tomorrow at 4 o'clock. They'll be waiting 24 hours. So, and then of course, Jay, who I brought on earlier on the show, you can see all about his process here. And that's it. Guys, that's what I had for you. Botch here. Look forward to possibly being selected for Retirement Unfiltered. Sounds like a great time with real-time advice. Yes, that is the goal. Botch8825, because you're on the show with me right now, send me an email and I will move you to the top of the unfiltered list and you will get picked. So send me a note, Ari@rootfinancial.com, and just put in the subject line, Ari picked me. And then I will know to keep my eye for that. Tim, your digestive system seems to be better lately. Maybe you're eating healthier. Ooh, Tim, it's a strict cauliflower diet only. That breakfast, lunch, dinner, that's all I eat. No, honestly, so I don't know what it is. Sometimes I'm lying. Yes, I know what it is. Okay. I was trying to play it off right there. I know I need to, like, the spicy food tastes good. Okay. So sometimes, Tim, I eat a little too much of it, but I'm a human just like the rest of us. But sometimes what happens is I'll eat spicy food and then I'll be like, oh, my digestive system still is working totally fine. Maybe it's not that. And then I'll eat more spicy food and then I find out it is that. So it's like every time I eat, I go, maybe this will still work, but food tastes good, guys. Okay. So I like food. So Tim, thank you, because maybe if it seems to you that I'm healthier, then I'm winning some points as I see it. So guys, that's it. Thank you. You spent over an hour 15 with just me and Cole, and this was awesome. And I look forward to this every week. I hope you guys look forward to this, because if not, that'd be sad, because I have this bookmarked every Wednesday and it's fun. So that's all I got for you guys this week. I'll see you guys next time.